Well, so thanks for joining us once again. We have to look at the newspapers, and of course, we know that Mamavio Uzuabwaje is now there coming to a location, as they say, for the trailers in the cinemas near you.
That sounds like a movie.
Right.
Mamavi at ATCC coming soon.
Near you.
So which of the papers are we starting with?
Well, I have to start with the traditional newspaper, the most circulated daily newspaper in Ghana. The Daily Graphic has on the front page, down they go, Nigerian election billboards, but AAG disagrees with demolition. And I agree with the AAG, when you're getting money out of it, why do you have to complain?
I think in the newsroom, when we first saw this, we also raised, well, I raised the same reservations about the fact that it was a political billboard, and I wasn't comfortable with it being in town. But when we spoke with the AAG, they were fine. They said it's a product, and if it's being sold...
My difficulty is because Nigerian elections usually have been characterized with some level of acrimony. I won't say violence. You never know, anything can happen.
And my point was, in Ghana, the only place that is Nigeria is the High Commission. So if it has anything to do with political, it should be at the High Commission and not in town.
And then you can't have it in the High Commission too, because it means that the High Commissioner or the High Commission is polarized, right?
But then it would have been all of the political parties there.
What if one was not there and disagreed back home in Nigeria?
Really, seriously? You mean a Nigerian political party wouldn't have wanted to put up anything at the High Commission? Because both of them, both
you know where
PDP
the High Commission
and
is?
APC...
Where the High Commission is not visible to ordinary, to a lot more people.
No,
it's somewhere in Roman Rage.
No, but the point I'm making is it's not about putting it outside. It could be on the environment of the...
Yes.
And that is Nigeria. If the people want, they could go there.
Yes, true.
I mean, for me, that's my thinking.
Okay. So we have front page of the Daily Graphic. Down they go. Nigerian election billboard by AAG disagrees with demolition. Up there we have break the science myth. Ghanaian NASA engineer. And it says that everybody needs to study science. That's why a lot more kits these days are being made to study science and get adequately equipped with mathematics and things about algebra and things. I know that you were very much anti-maths.
No,
You were okay.
Sometime,
you were not anti-maths, but you were okay.
Yeah, sometime junior high school 3, GSS 3, I developed interest in mathematics, but I wasn't a huge fan of science, and I regret that a lot.
You should regret it, but you could have been a beautiful medical doctor.
Not that I don't like what I do, but I would have been a great doctor.
Yes, medical doctor, or even look at you going to space, the first Ghanaian woman going to space.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Or being
sure Joy News would have been up there
science and technology journalist or something.
Yeah,
it's deep.
Look at you.
Not that I don't like what I'm doing. He's creating that impression. I love being here.
Well, so the other stories we have: Pentecost University reassures students, and we have boy 15 arrested for killing girl over alleged sex. Back page: Stars will consolidate chance. And talking about presidents just like talking. President of the GFA. Immediately his team won, or he's up. Let's see how they fare against the South African
I think it's identical with the title president.
Yeah, presidents. Immediately they'll start talking. When we lost...
What's he saying this time?
Oh, he says that... he says Asamoah Gyan is the Messi of the Black Stars. I say, oh, okay. We'll see how that goes. Kotoko winner Sunyain. Hearts, meanwhile, they drop points in the First Capital Plus Premier League.
But did you see the turnaround after Asamoah Gyan scored that goal, that last-minute goal for us? The way people started praising him and saying all sorts of things. Why do we do that?
I still think that the support is not overwhelming among the soccer publics.
But I was shocked because I was listening to Joy that day. I don't remember when. And everybody calling was, I knew it. I knew we could do it. I knew we could. And I'm like, oh yeah, we all be hypocrites.
Oh, I think only if they had only 10 optimistic callers, definitely you should see that. I don't think even in town a lot more people jubilated. That's the essence of how perhaps uneuphoric Ghanaians have become towards the Black Stars.
Anyway, let's look at the Ghanaian Times, and the banner headline there is churches must pay anointing oil tax, and it's by a professor. I should find out which professor is proposing that on page 4. Let me look for that briefly. But what do you think about it?
No problem.
Churches must pay tax on...
I think they should.
Okay, it's coming from Professor Kwame Bwesia Komanientri, Dean of Pentecost University.
I think they should. I think we all go to church so somehow.
So we should do it like it's done in the UK.
So when I'm giving my offering or collection, as we call it, I just put 10%.
But this conversation has come up before, and the churches were not exactly happy about it.
I think it will go nowhere.
But if it's coming from the church or an arm of the church, then hopefully this time we'd want to know what the Christian Council thinks about this. They want a 50-year agenda or plan for the growth of Ghana, and I don't know where this will fall in place in that particular 50-year plan. And so the Christian Council should probably respond to this. We want you to start paying taxes, and Professor is proposing we call it anointing oil tax. I wonder what we use that tax for. But beyond that, TV mass collapses on building, we've said that already. That's a very
unfortunate incident that took place at Aberdeen.
Over the weekend. Chief Farmer blows whistle on cocoa smuggling. Caterer defrauds 500 people in police recruitment scam. Behind it, you have some sports news. We've seen Fiamenyo strikes brace and hard straw. Is that the name? Guinea-Congo for quarters. What does that mean? Equatorial Guinea
and Congo for... They qualified out of their group.
So the quarters is quarterfinals. Great. Kotoko falls BA down, so Kotoko takes a lead, a victory, 2-0 victory over BA United in Sunyai on Sunday.
That was the first for the season, though. I think so far we've played about 3.
We've played, so you're a Kotoko fan?
Yes, I'm a Kotoko fan. All right. Front page of the Finder, Doomsor crisis, VRA to blame for worsening the problem. I have a picture there of Kek Kofi, VRA CEO. I'm sure he will be watching the front page of the Finder and be fuming in his office today. That's for these press people. All right, 304 new cholera cases recorded in 16 days. I think that we should be frightened. Last year, it wasn't...
New cholera cases?
I think every year we seem to recall...
But this time it's coming too early.
Let's hope that we take the precautionary measures.
Wow.
Cutlasses fly at NDC office, and where we have down the MPP secretary, others in show of their goal. Story on page 2. You have Samson Ladi Ayenene, host of Newsfile of Multimedia or Joy FM and Joy News, interacting with the general secretaries of the various political parties who were invited for Newsfile on Saturday. But they stormed out of the studio, and despite all efforts to make them see reason, they said because of the absence of Mr. Mosquito, General Mosquito, who still abroad, right?
No, he's back in the country.
He's back.
And that's why he was given the invitation.
I'm sure he was afraid a question would be posed about...
I think that if he couldn't pitch, any of his deputies could have. But the problem was the deputies weren't ready either. The excuse was
You mean the deputies also didn't appear?
Yes. The excuse was that they were not abreast with what was going to be discussed. Now, the question the producer was asking was, how can you tell me you're a member of the party in government and you don't know issues that will be discussed like the energy crisis, that whatever we are faced in the country, the economic crisis, which they say is just a challenge? What are you doing then? I mean, so for me, I don't support the boycott because it affected us as a business, but it was absolutely not a good thing that they gave the excuse of not being abreast of what was going on as the reason they couldn't be here. I think it's a shame.
I think that sometimes political parties also, especially when they're in government, they tend to have this air around them. And sometimes the electorate also tend to say that perhaps if you're showing too much ego, then you're becoming complacent. I hope they learn from whatever history we have.
I hope next week we can have a full news file.
You plan on inviting them next week?
Well, I'm not on the production team, I can't really tell. But on the New Statesman, NDC foot soldiers occupy ghost names. Imani takes Tekbet to task. We also have Afarijan admits voter register is not credible. I think you mentioned that. Did you?
No.
Samye Wuku urges NPP members to show love to win neighbors. No Ghanaian was arrested in Germany for demo against Mahama. Graphic Flagstaff propaganda crumbles. Really? On the back, we have Andy Murray beats Grigor Dimitrov to make Australian Open quarters. For those of you who love the game, it's not over yet, according to Andre Ayew, deputy captain of the Black Stars. Muntaka quit paying Black Stars bonus packages. Should we?
Nope. Once we've started it,
yeah,
we should just dismantle the team and then call them back.
I think a former GFA boss has made the same call. Yeah, he's made the same call. Okay. But you think it's feasible? We collapse the whole team and then start it from scratch.
Yes. So when you can invite the same players, but you tell them these are the terms.
You think it's a big deal for some of them to play for the Ghana Black Stars?
Yeah, some of them if they were playing well, they would have been happy that they'll be getting new clubs the next season. So the Ghanaian Observer has on the front page Mark Menu, who is a former chairman of the NPP, leads NPP's charge as EC begins electoral reforms, and we can't conjure rains. PURC dams critics over Doomsaw. Kofi Juma to contest Asokwa parliamentary seat. Oh, okay, he's a former member of parliament of the area. Ghana must, back page, must confront SA fiercely. That's according to Stephen Appiah, who is now retired from football, and Avram Grant praises Asamoah Gyan. There's a quote from Avram Grant. I didn't know whether to believe or not. He said Asamoah Gyan is one of the greatest players he has coached. I said, oh, okay. That's
whatever.
Good talk.
Whatever. But what do you think about a game against SA? You think we could move forward?
It depends on the mentality and the composure of the team, and they should know what's at stake. I think in the Algerian game, they were very much resolute in defense than they had done in the previous game. So they need to take the same attitude towards their game, and they need to ensure that they score. They create chances and score.
But I think I'm indifferent.
Okay.
Whether we move ahead or not. So let me do the BNFT. SIC shareholders angry, call for emergency meeting. I'm not sure why. Maybe I should just read it. The company is called for an emergency meeting as they accuse management of sidelining them and going public with matters that should have been explained to them. And well, we could also look at Qatar Airways to start operations February, telcos to provide fixed line services. You can grab the BNFT for the rest of the stories there.
All right, so Mama V also Abwaje is ready. And Mama V, please take it from here. All right, so Mama V also Abwaje is coming from a location near you, and know that it is from ATTC here in Accra.
What's the full of ATTC?
I think Accra Technical Training Center or College, one of them.
College is a center of a lot of things. I'm coming to you from the Obra spot here at Circle. You see a lot of people crossing. They're minding their own business, and we're also minding our business. I'm checking out what people are looking at in the newspapers. You have been sharing what's making headlines. Let's hear from the people what's making headlines for them as well. Okay, so I just want to say good morning to you.
Good morning.
What are you looking at?
You know, early in the morning you have to come, read the newspapers and know what's going on. But it's always full of politics, which I don't like, because it's running down the country, you know. There must be some different... You see, you can imagine whatever you see is about politics, NDC full soldiers, Akufo-Addo, NPP, MP, a whole lot. So
what do you want them to be reporting on?
You know, it should be of more education to the people, especially on our morals, because I can see, you know, a lot of the youth are losing their morals, which the news media is not helping.
So you don't care about what is on the front page of the Daily Graphic or the Daily Guide or the Chronicle or the Economy Times? You know,
it's all about the same thing. If not NDC, MPP, it's all about politics.
Okay.
You know?
let's hear from you. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Very
What's
good.
your name?
I'm Frederick.
Frederick, are you usually interested in the headlines generally?
Not necessarily, because you just read the headlines and you have to continue reading. and find out what the total information is about. Looking at the daily graphic for today, for instance, look at what they have over there. It's not talking about this billboard issue. It's not just about that. You have to go on and further read what that information is, just the headline. You have to read the full story to get a full understanding of whatever they are talking about. And it's what my brother said, considering the politics of everything. Fine, politics is fine, but it's just that we have to, the percentage at which, if you go to a country like Holland, their total life coins about 4% of politics. When you come to over Ghana here, it seems every day, now and then, all the radio stations talking about politics here and there. I think they just have to reduce that and concentrate on more of this economic issues and other stuff bothering the nation.
Okay.
I think that will go a long way to help us.
Okay. Let me speak to, because I know that you use Circle a lot. This is usually your route.
Yeah, it is.
So what's your biggest challenge passing through Circle, either to work or going back home?
Oh, I wouldn't say, okay, fine, it's a challenge, but I think with this construction going on, I will talk about this traffic issue over here at Circle. Prior to this construction of this overpass over here in this show, there were a lot of traffic around here, especially moving from my part, from Laboni towards Circle when I came from work. But I think with this overhead stuff, when it's being done, I think it's going to ease the traffic. So I wouldn't concentrate much about my challenge now, because I think there are more challenges that we have to talk about considering my route over here.
Right.
I think I'm
Fred,
fine
you're
with that.
so kind. Thank you very much for talking to me. Okay, so you can see that there are a lot of people also looking at what is making front page stories in the newspapers. So let me talk. What's your name?
My name is Albert.
Albert.
Yeah.
What is your interest? Which one is your favorite newspaper?
Okay, I'm interested in the graphic sports.
The graphic sports?
Yeah, because I'm a football fan. And then, you know, Ghana is participating in the African Cup of Nations in the Equatorial Guinea. So I'm interested in this thing. So my attention was on the graphic sports.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have the expectancy that Ghana will definitely qualify.
Okay. Do you go beyond, you know, coming here and looking at what is making headlines in the graphic sports, for instance? Do you read the details?
Yes, sometimes I read the details at the workplace, but sometimes I'm always interested in the front page, what is making the front page, before I go into details when I get to the workplace.
Okay, so where's your office?
I'm working with Crib Ghana Limited at Adabaka.
Okay,
yeah.
So this is more like your home. Thank you for talking to me. Have a good day. Boss, I see you're wearing G4S. Is that where you work?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a technician there.
So what is your interest here?
You see, madam, what I'm seeing, I'm very, very nice. Look at the national papers where everybody is buying from. My question is, look at the studio where they have assembled all these papers. Look at the way it is. So the producers of these papers, are they watching, looking? I mean, is it nice for the shape of the sales point? Is it nice? Look at the sales point.
What are you expecting? What do you want them to be?
I'm expecting these producers to help those who are selling the papers. They should let the you look nice. You see, so that when somebody is passing, you can say a place. When you go to somebody's, can you buy this stuff from there? But because it's national, I don't understand them. So the question is, to the where they are papers, is it nice? Look at the cage, look at the iron sheet, look at the environment. And people are doing to get money. So my question is, all these papers, the producers, look at the environment where they are selling papers.
Okay. A better store.
All of them, please bring them down. Let them come and see where they are selling their papers. If it's due to the country, if it's nice, where is good or bad?
It's a very important point that you brought up. Yes. Really, a lot of us don't think about that. But I'll see if the vendor would agree with you on this call. Thank you very much for talking to me, really. Have a good day. Okay, so your name is Echampon. Thank you, Echampon. Let's see if I can grab the vendor. But close to the newspaper is this gentleman who is selling. Oh, boss, come, let me talk to you. You've been so nice to me this morning. And he really wants me to buy some Indomie. So we'll see how it goes. Can you just come here for me? Mr. Kakrebi. Minister your business. Yakasa Kakrebi. But we're still here at the Obra Sports in Circle. A lot of people passing by and looking at us. School children, come here. Come here, let me talk to you. What is your name?
Samuel.
Samuel. Do you care about the newspapers? Really? So what do you look at?
I also look at the international news. Sometimes.
Boss, man, call Okay, so what's the name of your school?
Calvary Methodist one.
Calvary. Okay. What's your name?
John.
George. George. You also look at the newspapers?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you like about the newspapers?
Sports. Maybe I look at sports.
Okay. All right, boys. Enjoy the day today, yeah? Okay, let's see. The Indomie man is doing a lot of business. He thinks a minute of his time will cost him, but just come. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for him. And he's coming. In the meantime, we're also checking out what's making headlines in the newspapers here at the Obra Sport. Roland and Kevin, if you can hear me, we're handing back. I'm not coming. But let me talk about also the biggest challenge for a lot of people who work here and indeed who go to work using this place. Because the main circle is under construction, there's a lot of dust. I'm sure I'm coming back with some cold later today. That's the challenge that a lot of people have to deal with. Maybe the very last person before we go. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
I want to ask if you care about the newspapers and the headlines.
Yeah. I normally listen to it on City FM every morning, around 6:30.
Okay.
On the radio. Yeah.
Do you go beyond just listening to what people are saying is making news? Do you read the papers?
Yeah, sometimes. It's not all the time, but sometimes I do.
Some people say they are full of politics. Do you agree?
Yeah, sometimes it's true. No, we live in the political season, so
so it's okay.
So it's normal. Okay. I take it as a normal thing that it goes on.
My challenge here this morning is the dust. What is yours?
It's the same thing. As you can see, it's the dust. The dust that destroys most of the things. Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you come in to see what is going on, sometimes they don't want to put what it's on today. They try to put on the new one, the old ones, because of the dust. But they try to cover it with some other rubber and other stuff just to make way of the dust.
All right. I'm sure you can't wait for the construction to finish.
Yeah, but I had the timeline, but I don't know whether they are beyond, they are late or they are within schedule.
Okay, I'm sure they are on course. But thank you. What's your name?
My name is Ebenezer.
All right, Ebenezer. Thank you for talking to me. And indeed, thank you for joining me here at the Obra Sport. I'll come back with something. I'll see you later in the studio.
Okay, so Mama Vio Uzo Abwaje coming to us from ATTC, and we know that at the Obra Sport where she was, you have the location where the newspapers are being sold and the various spectators each morning who come by those newsstands to watch whatever headlines there were. And very interesting, some of them remarked, Kamini, about...
It's interesting what people look at when they are there. Someone feels there's too much political headline. But I don't know. Today it didn't look like that, though. But if he blames the media for encouraging political headlines, I'm not sure what he's talking about. You think the media is to blame for the many political headlines?
I don't think the media is to blame, but the point is that the media, as an agenda-setting medium, also needs to create the platform for people to have something to talk about in public discourse. And I think the media plays a vital role in whatever issues that the public will be discussing.
But it's about what's making news also.
It depends on what the media deems to be making news. If the media consistently would want to focus on developmental issues, that will become the news for the ordinary person.
Anyway, it's good to know what people look at when they visit the newsstands. I think it was good.
But the good thing is that we had mixed reactions. Not everybody loved the political headlines as well.
I agree, because there was one guy who said, contrary to what he said, he thinks that the political headline is good, though he was looking at sports. You know. And
we're going to look at a recorded interview we had with one Mr. Jukum Hene, and he is the executive director for KITE, and it is an agency involved, or a consultancy involved in research into energy, etc. in our country.
Did he propose any anything as a form of solution for
definitely
the crisis?
He did, but he says that we need to have first the commitment from the leadership, and it has to transcend the political parties, because whatever we've been doing is just short term, and he feels that the mindset is still very short termish, and it's still not being communicated as to what strategy there is to resolve it. What do you think? You have been having difficulties as well, just like all of us, as far as the current energy crisis is concerned.
I'm not sure what to say about our energy situation anymore. Last time I had a conversation with Frank Ocher, he tells me that the water level at Akosombo is very low. It means that if it doesn't rain like it did yesterday at the Akosombo, so that's the machines, all 6 of the turbines will start functioning, we should expect more load shedding or power rationing in the future. There are just 4 of them running now. So let's hear what Kite has got to tell us from the conversation you had with them, but I'm taking my mind off it now.
All right, so we're doing a review, and please, I recorded an interview on the energy crisis and its solutions as proposed by Kite.